What's up, guys? It's your boy Mars, and welcome to season 6 of Down in the Den. I am so proud. It's been 5 long years that we've been doing this together, and we couldn't do it without you guys. So I want to give this introduction today. On today's episode, we have longtime guest, friend of the Den, my brother, John E. Raps, and we talk about the album that we did together, Old Dirty Cracker, available on all streaming platforms right now. We talk about music, we talk about what we love about the industry and what we don't, and it's a great interview. So tune in right now. Welcome to season 6, Down in the Den. It's Down in the Den, so go tell a friend. The best podcast on earth is about to begin. We got jokes and news and movie reviews. After Dark NC-17 with the crew. Interviews with the best artists around. So like, comment, subscribe. The show's starting right now. Let's go. Like, comment, subscribe. The show's starting right now.
It was a very small venue, so like you could, like the crowd could literally like talk to him, and some guy in the crowd was like, "This song," he kept like naming one of the new songs off the new album,
Right.
and he was just like, "Yo, like that." He's like, "I can't do that, man. I'm sorry." He's like, I know it's new, but it conjures dark spirits for me, man, and I'm trying to have a good time up here, so you won't be hearing my new shit tonight. I'm sorry. Like, he did do some of his new shit, but whatever song, I wish I remember exactly what song it is, but it's probably one of the ones when I listen to the album, it's probably one of my skips too, because it probably also conjures those, like, I don't know. I feel like if you're really into hip hop, there's certain feelings you might be trying to avoid.
Right. Well, one of my favorite songs on the album, and I remember I had shot it out as a potential title, but Power of the Tongue. That concept, when I went into doing the beats for the album, that concept was just in the back of my mind. It just came to me one day, and I was like, Power of the Tongue, Power of the Tongue, Power of the Tongue, Power. And I love my acronym, so I was like, POT. And then I was like, oh no, it's extra. Oh, so it's actually poop, so that can't do that. But you can speak certain things into existence, and we saw that we're 90s babies. We saw, it seems like it was a point in hip hop where everybody was talking about death, and like all of those rappers are dead now. So I see exactly what you're saying. How conjuring up certain emotions and energies can translate into real life, and you don't want to do that every single time.
Yeah. Some things are meant to be put on record.
Right.
I think is my overall point of this rant about this one singular song, but I feel like it's like some things are meant to be put on record, and then there are some things that are like meant to be you could easily just repeat it over and over again, But this is all to say, you're not probably going to see me do Angel a lot in live performance.
I feel you. I feel if you're doing an Angel, that needs to be like solo light, sitting on a stool.
Bro, that's my what is it? Singers and songwriters, VH1 singers and songwriters.
There you go. Phil Collins talking about In the Air
That's
Tonight,
yeah.
songwriters.
That's it.
VH1, bring that show back. That was my shit. So the title Old Dirty Cracker, it definitely grabs attention. What's the story behind the name, and how does it reflect the vibe of the album?
Well, I think there's things that I've done in the booth subconsciously, just sounding like my predecessors or my idols, so to speak. And I think you'll find, I really like those more bombastic sounds when it comes to hip hop. The people that were really eccentric and making eccentric sounds with their mouths, and like immediately the ones that come to mind that inspire me the most in that regard, whether they're on my top 10 or not, would be Busta Rhymes, ODB, and Redman.
Absolutely.
And I'm thinking of like how they all did they all did like vibrato type stuff
Yeah.
in some way, you know, they all with the ha and the oh, and like,
Yeah.
like early on, Busta Rhymes and stuff, you know. So I,
Flavor in your ass, Chris, you know.
yeah, and you know, just that those like not very musical sounds
Right.
that work well so musically with a track. Um, you know, you're like almost like sounding obnoxious on purpose.
Yeah.
Um, but it works. And so I don't know. I subconsciously like will throw stuff like that in there. And I think I'll just like, you know, I come with a different flow for almost every song. So,
Great.
you know, like over the years, Cortex is just like like compared me to other, you know, rappers that inspired me to be like, you have no idea how much like, you know, Busta inspired that sounded or whatever. Or he'll be like, you know, Johnny raps with another Chuck D political flow. You know, because I was coming with the more political stuff when I first started rapping. I was trying to, you know, I don't know what point I was trying to make, but I was, I guess, just trying to
I think
be
we
more
all,
topical in that regard. Um, but yeah, man, just you know, I feel like I subconsciously at one point was like, ah, shit, I sound like I did some like ODB inspired stuff in this track. So then I was like, well, I could be the old dirty cracker, you know what I mean?
and it's a
So
line you say on
and
one of the songs where you know you go old dirty cracker, and I was like, there it is, right? You didn't even
yeah,
probably,
I say it in one of the BAP songs.
yeah,
It was recorded pretty early on, so it was always this idea toying around in my mind, and it's you know I work with different sounds, and you know I feel like the part time rapper um, kind of persona is different than the. It's still on brand, but it's different than the old dirty cracker persona. You know what I mean?
yeah, no,
And
agreed,
I feel like really old dirty cracker was born um, when we were working on the education album,
yeah, yeah,
whether it was stated as such or not. Like that's when I got in my really in my boom bap pocket
right.
um, and started to like give it that kind of oomph.
And I think that's the project where I got comfortable sending you beats because that's when I realized, and I love the part time rapper. I think if you're looking at just hits, part time rapper to me is filled with ready to go radio hits. Please check that out, by the way, streaming on all musical platforms. Check out the entire discography. But I was like, okay, these are ready to go radio hits. I still believe that to the day. Songs like It's a Party featuring Bizarre are ready to go radio hits. And then when you dropped Education, I was like, oh, okay. This is actually, and that's still one of my favorite albums to this day. I'm like, this is my personal like bag. This is what if I'm stuck on a desert island and I can only listen to a certain type of music, this would personally be it. And that's when I felt comfortable, like, okay, sending that. And then it just evolved beautifully. I didn't even realize you were working on, I heard some songs on Baps for sure. And you carried it over. But I feel like this one, in my humble opinion, really just solidified like a finished, like your final Super Saiyan form of like boom bap, like killing that shit. Like hair's blonde, eyes are blue, you're ready to go. So let me ask you, what's your favorite track off the album and why does it resonate with you?
Fuck, my favorite track on the album. It's got to be. I think it's Forsaken. Um, I just think it has the best beat, the most lyrical depth.
I should pull it up.
Uh,
get monetized, but I'll put the link to it in the background. But yeah, no,
It kind of it's the kind of the I made the abortionist the first track,
right,
but it was actually I think the last track that I recorded.
yeah, that or was it aggressive?
Yeah, aggressive was the last is the those were both the same session. So
Okay,
abortionist and aggressive were, and I was like, I wanted something for the very beginning and I wanted something for the very end. Um, you know, because on Infamous, I think Survival of the Fittest is the best track, but they don't start with Survival of the Fittest, right? That's track
right,
2, if I'm correct. So
yeah,
I
I
was
think
like,
you're right.
Forsaken is like my Survival of the Fittest. Let me just hit them with something first that comes right in, and then we can do the thing that has like the slow intro, and then I get ready to rap, and then the mic cord falls out when we're on stage. That shit was fucking crazy, dude.
Hey, but you see the quick thinking, right? We locked that. That was an amazing performance. Thank you again for allowing me to participate and getting to live a little bit of on stage fantasy. So man, I appreciate the invite. That was a dope show. If you had an opportunity to check that out in the Delancey, and we appreciate y'all for coming out there. Thanks for the hospitality. Stayed at my bro's pad. We were out in the streets passing flyers. It was real, some fun, independent hip hop shit, and smoking J's on the street in Manhattan, passing out
Passing out flyers.
great time, great. Now, to me, man, your lyricism always stands out, and we talked about particular influences with some of the sounds you make. Artists like ODB, Busta Rhymes, Redman, who just dropped a super dope. He dropped a cipher with Method Man and Raekwon. If you haven't seen that, I'll send it to you.
Let me keep it.
Yeah,
He's getting ready to do a Muddy Waters 2.
yeah, Petty, shout out to King Petty. He put me on, he as much as raps and I love music, that dude loves music. I don't know if he's like a secret A&R, but he was like Muddy Waters 2, like 3 months before it was announced, sending me the album cover. I'm like, how the hell did you get this? Did you hack someone? I'm like,
Redman didn't even post about it until like a little while ago.
yeah, I was like, you got are you sending me illegal shit? I'm like, I am not trying to go to prison. I'm not built for that. But yeah.
Muddy Waters is one of my top 5 favorite albums of all time.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Out of the people that I listed, Redman's the one that's actually on my top 5 favorite rappers.
Yeah, no, I agree. Redman is the perfect, in my opinion, the perfect rapper. From lyrical to fun. I like a little more fun in my music, and Redman has like a ton of fun in his music. And then like his influences, I love, and yeah, I could hear that in your influence. Some of the references. He loves referencing a good movie or a good line from a song or something or from a movie and putting that into like culture. So I'm probably the most underrated top 5 rapper in my opinion. But shout out to Brick City and Redman.
Yeah, bro. Shouts to Redman. Shout to Cube on the new album.
Yes, sir. I love the legends coming back and staking claim because hip hop had a 23 was rough in my opinion in hip hop. It was and a lot of people will say it's misogynist, but they were like it was the rise of the woman in hip hop. But I was like, yo, I got to I got to keep it 100%. If I hear another rapper talk about their vagina, I I can't do it. I can't tolerate it. I felt like I was about to fade out and put my golf shirt on and start talking about jazz. And then 24, man, y'all saved me. Bats and ODC saved me. So
Well, I hope it saves some others as well.
man, I think it most definitely will. Like I said, it's a classic. It's going to be something that everybody that I put on, and I don't tell anybody I did any production or anything on it, so I can get their honest opinion, because people will try to glaze you in your face and legit. They will, like, oh, you had something to do with it. I love it, and I'm like, all right, whatever. But and so I don't tell anybody that I had anything to do with it. And I'm just like, oh yeah, check this new. I discovered this new guy. He's dope, man. Check it out. And everybody was like, yo, who is this? It's fire. And that, I call it like the blind taste test, is something that I know you've got a classic, because they don't even see your face, they don't see the album cover, they just hear it. I put the headphones and they're like, oh, this shit's fire, man, this shit's fire. And that's been 100% of the case to everybody that I've exposed to it. So man, once again, phenomenal work. Now you mentioned other people saving. What do you hope fans take away from the album, and are there any particular like messages or emotions that you wanted to convey that hope stick with them?
I mean, yo, like it's I'm going through my midlife crisis, I would say. I mean, that's what my therapist says. So, I'm on the outside, by all appearances, everything is hunky dory, but I'm wrestling with some demons, man. And so, it's in there in this album. So I would like to think that like anybody wrestling with any demons can relate. Um, but I mean, that's just like on like a thematic, emotional,
Yeah,
I guess, you know what I mean? Um, I mean, it's extreme. It's extreme. There's a lot of shock value in there.
yeah,
Uh, and if anything else, it's just like it's my ode to hip hop. It's my love letter to hip hop. And if anybody takes away anything from it, I would hope that it's um, just knowing that this particular artist uh, really loves the genre and respects the genre, wants to bring something new to the table. Um, and like I've done my studies, and fuck, man, like I can rhyme.
yeah,
I can rhyme.
yeah. And I can definitely 100% co-sign and stamp that. Like I said, if I'm they're giving me a hip hop super team and I'm getting a draft, uh, he's top of my draft board, because you can. I love people that make the art, and everybody wants to make money from the art. That's ultimately the end goal. Um, but I
Yeah,
feel
figure
like,
that out next.
yeah, that's the next part. I said the skills are there, the talent is there, the team is there. Now it's just time to take it to the next level. But that's the way that it has to be. I think a lot of artists, they stumble into a hit early and they don't have love for the game. They stumble to the hit early, so they don't even appreciate the grind or hustle. And then when they get there, they end up blowing it and doing something stupid, because they didn't appreciate the hustle, they didn't appreciate the struggle, they didn't appreciate like passing flyers. It's very easy in this generation to just make a song on your laptop, drop it on TikTok, it becomes a hit, but then you have nothing after it. And then so you've done it where you already have, you're gonna blow. That's inevitable. And when you do, people are gonna discover all this shit. I feel like you'll be an artist like, yo, but did you hear his old shit? You're already a superstar when it comes to the ability, and now it's just like bringing that to the masses. And anything that I can do to help that uh, happen, we're gonna do it right here at the Den. But before we wrap up, man, we know where the listeners can find the album, but how can they find a deeper connection if they really want to learn like more about the rap story? Like, where can they find you? You also have some dope merch and everything, so let the people know, where they can come and like seek you if they really want to get into that Johnny Raps train.
Oh well, I mean, I'm pretty active on social. I'm pretty active on
Yeah,
social. So I would say, come to my Instagram. You got the handle right there. The handle right there.
right there.
I'm trying to point to it on the screen, but I can't point in the right direction for some reason.
I'm a pop.
My
I'm a
brain
pop.
is
Everything's backwards on your screen. I do that every time when I have like multiple people, and I'm like,
got a
to the
stroke.
left of me.
Yo, and it just like, I mean, hit me up. I'm trying to build a community. So if you come to my Instagram, DM me, you really want to know about it, like shit, I'll make you a fucking uh like custom playlist of my shit and the shit that inspired my shit and all that. I like to educate people on music and hip hop especially, and um I'm just trying to vibe on that. So, there's going to be a whole lot more coming down the pike to kind of share with people who I am, and give people more insight to what's really going on behind the scenes. I have a couple like video projects that I'm working on simultaneously with Infitane. Um, One is more of a short-term project, which is like we're thinking of it as like a video mixtape, which is
Okay.
I'm even thinking like old school days of YouTube. It's just like a mashup of like promos, and then me freestyling a little bit, and then like some behind the scenes, maybe something from a live concert, and just like a quick like 10-minute episode maybe. And then um, with everything I'm compiling, you know, everything that anybody's ever shot for me, behind the scenes and all the footage, and putting that onto one hard drive, and just keeping that all together long term for like a documentary project. So
I
when
would
I
love
do blow, I got
Johnny Rap's last dance, like Jordan had. You've got these early footage and early content to put it together. Because like I said, it's gonna happen. And it couldn't happen to a more talented and good soul, man. I love this dude. This is my
yeah.
bro for real.
Oh, thanks, bro.
Love
For
it.
merch, I I took down the Teespring site. I really want to put my like my own custom merch on there and stuff. So I'm gonna relaunch my entire website in January.
Okay.
So you know, I, it's bad timing. I mean, I'm missing out on. If anybody wanted to get a Johnny Raps T-shirt for Christmas, just hit me up. We got shirts, we got hats. Just DM me at Johnny Raps on Instagram. Email me something. Um, but yeah, I'm getting the shit together. It's gonna be like a real official store launch in January. Because so far I've just been kind of like piecemealing it and shit like that. Um, but we're getting down to business. We're getting down to business. That's the next big step, man. We got this whole catalog. Like you said, I got the artistry. Now we just got to get down to business, La Russell style. You know?
Absolutely. Shout out to Den mate LaRussell doing the thing, inspiring a ton of young artists that's on the independent grind for sure. Now, also you've teased, and I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about it, if I'm not, edit it out. A little bit about this funk project, man.
Yeah.
That you're working on. I've been privy doing the Den has some benefits that a lot of dope artists let me privy to things that are coming, and I don't take it for granted, and that's why I always ask permission to talk about it. But it's coming for the holidays. It's coming very, very, very soon, and it's coming together quite nicely. So, can we talk a little bit about it?
Fuck yeah, bro. Fuck yeah.
Let's talk about it. So first, let's talk about the project, the date, and then let's talk a little bit about the inner workings of how this thing's coming together.
Fuck yeah. So
Announce it.
yeah. So right now I'm collaborating with my producer, Cortex, who, has always produced and mixed and mastered and published my shit. I always tell people you really only see in half of Johnny Raps sometimes, because the Johnny Raps is really a two-man group, and Cortex is at least the other half. So to that end, he is also an artist himself that goes by NYBD. And when he's NYBD, he's doing he's kind of doing like this alternative thing. You know what I mean? It's very unique. I don't even know how to genre it.
I had him on the show in his NYBD form, and I think he described it if Lenny Kravitz in Old Dirty Bastard made sweet, passionate, wet love and had a baby, and out comes NYBD. So that was his quote. I don't know if he said the sweet, passionate love part, but it was close enough. And he's dope as well. He's super dope as well.
Yeah. So uh, I was just like in my cups one night, and I was listening to some P Funk. Um, and we just put out Baps. We just put out Old Dirty Cracker, or at least finished it. You know what I mean? And I was like, damn, like I'm ready to switch it up. I'm ready to switch it up. I've been in my Baps mode, my aggressive mode, my dark mode for a while. Let me. I want to do something to lighten things up. Um, and I had already been thinking about like what it would mean to have like a backyard album, like a cookout album, because my family reunion happened in like August or something, and it was just there was no music. There was no music. It was
Oh,
just old white people and white people of all ages with no music. And I couldn't bust like some people were like me, like Johnny, let's play some of your stuff. And I'm like, I can't. You guys will kick me out of the family.
no.
Like there's nothing here for many of your ears to digest. I
Aunt
am
Geraldine doesn't want to hear pussy. Come on, man.
yeah. I'm
Everybody
like
wants to hear
like I want to do something. I always want to do something that has some fucking soul to it, man. But like, what is something that I can do that is going to be okay for all ages? You know what I mean? And so I was listening to some of the funk stuff, man, and the P Funk was like, yeah, like they're talking about all the same shit that like Johnny Raps talks about, especially in my fun stuff like Part Time Rapper. Like you're talking about fucking and all of that stuff, but they're saying funkin'.
right,
And they're just using other words, and they're not saying ass, they're saying booty.
right.
And so when it came to that, it wasn't so hard for me to be like, okay, I can do a clean album. Because me not wanting to do a clean album ever was being concerned about being corny.
Right.
But I'm like, if I can do it on brand and still talk about adult themed shit, but everybody can listen to it and feel safe and feel like they're not going to be in trouble with Jesus at the end of the day or something, then you know let me try that. Let me try that. I've already challenged myself. I mean, there's stuff in the chamber where it's like, okay, no swears on this one, because that just seems to be a thing that leads to accessibility for people. I
Absolutely.
can't advertise a song that has certain words in it.
No, no, absolutely. It's it's a fair balance and it's an artistic balance because if you uh, perfect example, and it's not because he's white, but Eminem, I think of Eminem because he's one of the most mainstream artists that's had some of the most profane things as far as what's considered politically correct. Even back in 1999, some of the things he was saying was like, oh, okay, that's not so much politically correct. And then he dropped a whole album this year where he's kind of killing that character while pointing out. And I thought it was a very good album, but I did see a lot of reviews say, oh, this, he's just doing this shit for shock value. So I agree with you. A lot of people don't realize Method Man hasn't cursed in the song. If you go listen back, he hasn't cursed in like 20 years. And nobody would think, like nobody would think Method Man as a soft artist at all. But he said it's just a challenge that he wanted to do to himself. And so I love that for you because from what I've heard, mission accomplished. You've been able to, you've been able to make on brand quality music. And I can tell it'd be something that, like you said, it could be at the cookout, it could be at graduation, it could be at the summer bar mitzvah, whatever you want. It has that accessibility.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be able to do this one without the collaboration of NYBD for sure. So it's definitely it's a Johnny Raps and NYBD collabo album. We're going to release it's a two EPs for starters.
Okay.
Think of it as a 2-part project. Um, the first EP is going to be called "Can You Smell the Funk," and that's going to be dropping on December 24th. We're making finishing touches to that, and then we're also well into the production of the second EP, which is called "Funk Like This." So, yeah, and it's grooving, man. It's really fucking grooving. I've previewed it for more people than probably Cortex would care for me to. I'm sure he's very secretive about stuff, and I'm just like, leak this shit, man. I want to be famous.
Hey, it worked for Deadpool, right?
Worked with Deadpool, exactly. Like, but no, I give him. I run it by people that I trust, that are going to enjoy it and just be full of anticipation for what I got coming next. So, um, yeah, thank you for being enthusiastic about it and inquiring about it because it's definitely a project that I envision uh, has the ability to maybe get me out of my day job. I mean, the Cortex was like, I hope you like these songs. Like, make sure you like them before we put them out because these are the songs that you're going to be performing on a nightly basis for the rest of your career. And he's not often wrong. So,
and I love that for you, bro, because like I said, I started this whole thing because I saw music dying, and it makes me seem like I'm like this altruistic dude, but I was just like, yo, everybody's paying to get on platforms. What if I did one where people don't pay a dime and we make genuine connections, but you're not signed to some contractual management obligation? You could do what you want and send the contract over. I'll look at it, or you need a connection. Because that's what I think community should be, man. Like, I hate fucking gatekeepers, bro. When there's so many, like, who are you? How dare you? When there's so many fantastic artists. And I agree with Cortex. Like I said, I think you've done nothing but your batting average is crazy. I'm talking like Barry Bonds on Big Super Soldier serum batting average. That's a bar. Y'all don't steal my shit. But yeah, I can see this, man. I can see you on Jimmy Kimmel, you in NYBD performing this shit like Saturday Night Live. Like, that's how top tier it is. So, man, I want it. Shit, it's Christmas Eve. What a great day, man. I'm trying to get me a boo boo for Christmas Eve and, listen to some Johnny Funk NYBD under the tree, if you know what I mean.
Listen to that crazy booty fat.
That's all I'm trying to do. If y'all want your applications, let's do it for after Christmas. That way I won't have to buy a gift. That's smart.
Yeah,
So 1226, ladies, holler at your boy. I got the contacts on, so you know,
yeah,
I ain't
man.
I'm
But
feeling it.
the funk John, man, I was like, yo, Cortex, let's do this. And then he sent me a few beats and we laid down that first track. It's called Crazy Booty Fat. That was the first one we recorded, anyways. And it just, and then he really got into it. I would say, I don't think I've ever seen him as enthusiastic about something um, since I met him.
Yeah, he's
like,
a,
like he
if you
was
guys
like,
don't know Cortez, he's the most laid back, nonchalant person I've ever met in my 44 years of existence.
he was low key. So like I haven't seen him this excited since like probably the day he met me, and he was like, "You're an MC, bro. Let's fucking do this." Like that was years ago, 7 years ago. Now, it's but he's just like, he started laying down verses and laying down hooks and cranking out more beats and calling in all his instrumentalists. Let's get some saxophone solos on this one, and I got the pro bass guitarist coming in doing some riffs, and so I know he believes in it, which whenever your closest collaborators are
Yeah,
in that mode and you feel like you've inspired, it's reciprocal, right? Like I
yeah,
inspired him to
absolutely.
do that, and he stepped it up, which means like then I have to step it up even more.
Yeah. No, it is as a person, and I love albums where it's one producer. In fact, all my favorite albums, it's one artist and one main producer, and they have this like symbiotic I am Venom like relationship where this elevate. I feel like we had it on our project. You would send me something and I send you a crazier beat. And from what I can hear from the Funk project, for what I hear, it's the same thing. And when you do that, you're going to get quality. And then with this type of music that is built to go and built to be on radio, and you're gonna, just don't go to the Diddy parties. Don't go to the. I don't want to hear about hear about my boys going to the Diddy party. Well, I guess there are no Diddy parties anymore. Damn it. I mean, not damn. Not, I wouldn't go. I
There's
wouldn't go.
still some baby oil floating around somewhere.
Yeah, it's still
Yes,
somewhere. It's still somewhere. Oh
but
man.
uh, fuck, I forgot what was going. Oh well, yeah. Like we were saying about one producer on each project, like. That's what made me. It was validating when I heard Dr. Dre say that recently, because I was like, okay, so I've been doing something right, because that's basically how I parsed out
Yeah.
my releases. Because I could have put out a third boom bap album this year as well, because I
Yeah.
have one in the chamber with Mr. Cortex,
Right.
and it's dude, I want this song, I want this shit to come out so bad, just because like a couple of the tracks on there are some of the first tracks I recorded with him, and I still think they're some of the best.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's hard to capture that first time feeling, man.
Yeah, and I
Um,
think sometimes as artists we can listen to our shit for so long that it might sound stale, but you need to remember, like, nobody else has heard it,
right.
and
It's
so
old to
they're
you
gonna
as
have
to them.
potentially the same initial reaction that you did. So you got to hold on to that initial feeling of what it was like the first time I recorded raps. So based on the success of the funk album and which direction that leads us, there is a whole nother boom bap, old dirty cracker style album in the chamber, ready to go. Somebody mentioned to me, well, somebody in our circle mentioned that I should I should go ahead and just never do traditional rap again and stick to the funk shit, because we discovered my true calling with that. And I was just like, I appreciate the sentiment. I don't really think, personally, I'm thinking I don't really think I could ever stop experimenting with sound. That would get boring.
I think limiting yourself as a human being is one of the most stupid things you can do, especially when you have it in you. You don't even have to release it. Like, how many greats do we hear they have 50 albums in the chamber that they've never released?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it is this something that I feel will be accepted and loved by the masses? Absolutely. Is it authentically you? Absolutely. But so is the boom bap side, and so is the part time rapper side. And
I
it's
honestly
like
think anybody, not anybody, because I did create this, did do the funk thing to make me as an artist more accessible to everybody. So obviously, I know not everybody likes everything. I know Johnny Raps isn't for everybody, just because some people straight up don't appreciate fucking uh, authentic hip hop. And then
yeah,
also some people don't aren't going to appreciate what I'm trying to do with authentic hip hop, because they're not going to be willing to get through like the surface level appearances of things. You know what I mean?
yeah. No,
Uh,
you're in the one industry in the world where being a white cis male is not an advantage. Hip hop is like that's crazy um, for that because, like I said, you're more authentic hip hop than especially some of the new artists. Like I feel what we need in hip hop is not gatekeepers for music. We need gatekeepers for the culture. Like you are from the culture. You. If we had to give you a hip hop citizenship test, you would pass with flying colors. And most of these artists, they don't know where it comes from. They don't know where it originates from. They don't know the different styles. They just know what they were exposed to at this time. And I think you said a line on one of the songs where you're like, "And I don't like drill." And so many people first
my
exposure.
bad, yo, my bad. It's true though.
It's true to me too. It's true to me too. I've had to reject several artists just because for spots on the show, just because I don't want to support that. Like I, I can't support that. But that's all they're supposed to. But I think the job of people in the industry that may not be the artist is to make sure, especially artist development. I feel that's something that has been lost. It's like everybody can't be a rapper, but we should have more artist development to like, hey, learn this, check this out. The business side is one cog, and then like becoming an artist where you can do this. If this is going to be your main job and that should be the goal, your goal should be to be Barbara Streisand, and then I could sit on a stool when I'm 70 years old and pack an arena if I want to, or I can just sit on my laurels. Like your goal shouldn't be to have a hot 3 year run and then you spent all your money on chains and hoes and cars, and now at 50 when you want to be able to do what you want, instead you're like, oh shit, I didn't study. So if you being an artist that you are, I feel like you're gonna have longevity, bro, for sure.
That's in it. I'm in it for the longevity, man. And
Long haul, man.
I did want to say something. You brought up gatekeeping a couple times, man, and that's the other
Yeah,
thing. Like, I'm not even. I feel like I would have nothing right now if I was gatekeeping in any way. And what's astonishing to me with a lot of artists that are on my level, or even like just starting from square one, you know, I people are really gatekeepy about their shit, man.
yeah,
Like people are like they separate themselves from everybody else because they I mean their ego wants them to feel like ab- they're so above
yeah,
things.
yeah,
Uh, like I've been in the studio with people that I've met, and they've had like crazier numbers than me or whatever, but like I mean, I've never heard of this person, so to me, they're
Yeah.
To me, they're still irrelevant. They're just as irrelevant as Johnny Raps is to many. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, uh, and then this person would there have been people like interrupting. Like I come out the booth and me and Cortex would be like listening to shit, and then I got somebody like shoving a YouTube video in our face and shit like that. I'm
Like, we're
like,
working here.
you know what I mean? Like it's weird stuff like that. I don't know. I don't even know if I'm making any sense, like in the stories
No,
that.
it
I had this
makes.
one guy. This one guy, fucking, he was like he seemed like a juggalo type rapper, right? This was years ago, but it just stands out to me because it was so fucking weird and unnecessary, right? Like, um, this guy fucking, uh, like during the pandemic, I was just trying to make friends online and shit. And so I DM'd this dude. Like, yeah, I followed him on Instagram. He followed me back. And I mean, by appearances, he has a lot more numbers. I've not seen any publications about this guy or anything like that. He was just doing good on Spotify with his numbers. And that could mean nothing.
Yeah,
All of that.
you can purchase bots.
Yeah, yeah, all of
Easily.
that could be just yeah. So, anyways, but he was like, doing some like insane clown posse inspired type shit, and I found out dude was in Brooklyn, and I was like, yo, man, like we should fucking link sometime or whatever, you know what I mean? And he was like, totally, like, yeah, let's we should get in the stew sometime when all this fucking clears up, and we can. So I hit him up like when things got back to normal and didn't hear anything back. And I was like, whatever, and I don't take offense to that shit. And then one day he months later, maybe even like a year later, like maybe sometime in 2021, he like sent me a link to his new shit or whatever. And I was like, sweet, man. And then I sent him a link to the John Smith EP because we just came out with that.
Right.
And he was like, I don't know, he said something, he like was cussing me out and said something to the effect of like, this isn't like this isn't like you help me, I help you type situation. I have like 7K monthly listeners on Spotify and shit, man. Like I'm not listening to your shit. I'm doing you a favor by sending you my shit. And I was just like, whoa, bro, okay, like uh number one, block.
Right. Right.
But
Fucking
and
weirdo.
I won't be listening to that for sure now. But just weird, like unnecessary way to be. And I don't know what he had going on that day or, what really kind of psychological issues this person might have or emotional issues at the time. But it's people are weird and gatekeepy about shit. And nobody would like me if I was that way.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's so interesting, man. And I've probably 200 episodes deep uh down in the den. I've met a lot of artists, a lot. And I'm thankful to say, I would say 80% are down to earth, cool, people that have had 10 monthly listeners and people that I've interviewed have had 1 million monthly listeners. And 80% of them have been very cool. But the 20% that have been like really off puttish and, you could probably tell because they've never been back on the show or never been mentioned again, they were the worst artists. They were the least talented. And so I feel it's like an ego, maybe like he probably heard your project and got intimidated, like shit, this sounds better than mine. And now it's weird, but I hate that gatekeeping because we're all on the same bridge. We're just different areas on the bridge. And
yeah,
just because you're towards the end of the bridge and about to hit the mainland, you can't forget the people that just started
yeah.
on the same. We're there, and I feel you, man, and it's just like I'm sorry that happened.
Nah, man, it's just like it's just big, like I'm building. I'm trying to build a
Right,
community and stuff like that, and
right,
that's where I see other people. Like even if you're not the most like business savvy or whatever like that, you should at least be, open to building. Like this shit does not happen in a vacuum.
No, no. And
And
you have to be open to working. My thing is, instead of having that attitude, if you show some love and congratulate, maybe it's something where, hey, this kid could ghostwrite for me, and I'll pay him
exactly,
to. You never know where the relationship can go, and so I try to treat
yeah,
and give everybody an opportunity to at least be in this family, because if I rock with you, I'll do anything for you, and we can figure out the business side later because I only rock with people I trust with. Um, but building that community is the key to being able to monetize it long term. And that's why tell people, like, it's better to work with people, even if, you know, it may not be your cup of tea. They may have a skill set that y'all can get money together. It's so much money out here, and take advantage of it.
yeah,
Take advantage of it, not in a bad way, not in a good way, but showing love and like doing what you can to help people out. And that gatekeeping energy is awful for music. Number one, the art that we all love and that we're trying to eat on, and then it's awful for the spirit, man.
yeah, yeah.
It's bad. It's bad
Well,
for the
it's like, and I'm not. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to just invite any anybody to the studio. I'm not going to do that. You know what
no,
I mean?
that's a waste of money
I
and
genu-
resources.
I genuinely have to find you to be a good uh, artist and a worthy artist to want to work with for sure.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely.
I've had people like beg me up and down to come to the studio, but I'm like, why? What? Like, what do you bring to the table? You just want to come hang out at the studio.
Yeah, and that's your office
Usually
space. Like,
whatever. Or you wanna meet, because I can also tell when there are people like trying to get in there that like, I'm not gonna have you monopolize my studio time by
right.
trying to like pitch ideas to my producer and shit like that. Like we won't go about that way.
Yeah.
You
No,
want to
I
do that, then hey, let me like link you with him and y'all can book
built
a
your
session.
own. Right.
And then Cortex can make some squirrels on that, man, and I don't have to be involved. Like that's the route I would go if I don't actually want you on a Johnny Raps record or to be on your record. But that said, man, like